So the other day I was going through the download history on my dad's old Xbox 360 profile. I was looking for some games to download and play. And most of the stuff there was what you'd expect. There was indie games, AAA games, some game trailers, different streaming apps. There was even 20 separate content updates for ESPN for some reason, but there was also a few games labeled as Xbox Originals. And what these were was, when the Xbox 360 released, it came with both a digital marketplace as well as some backwards compatibility, so a handful of publishers decided to re-release their original Xbox games as digital downloads on the Xbox 360 marketplace. And one of those games that my dad had in his download history was Burnout 3 Takedown. And I'm not gonna lie here, I have a lot of fun in Burnout games. Burnout Paradise, one of my favorite games to just switch off my brain and just kill time and just driving around. But one of the core features in the Burnout series is the crashing. It's not just about the racing. It's not like Forza or Gran Turismo or whatever, where if you crash your car, it's going to be a bit scratched up, sure, but it's not going to be anything major. But in Burnout, if you crash your car, it's all crumpled up like paper and you get to watch it deform in slow motion, and it's just really cool. But what's also really fun is just driving around, because it's not a simulation or anything. It's much more of an arcade racer where you can just drift your car through corners at 150 miles an hour. And yeah, it's just really fun to drive around in these games. But Burnout 3 Takedown is the game where they really just amped everything up for the first time, amped up the crashes, made them like a core gameplay mechanic, and they introduced something called Crash Mode. And in Crash Mode, it's really awesome because what you get to do, you see there's power-ups on the road, and you can go hit them. You need to drive into traffic at top speed, cause as much damage as possible. There's boosters, there's multipliers you can hit to get your score up, and it's just really fun to do. And it's also kind of a puzzle because it takes several attempts to figure out what the best path is. And to help with this, you can activate impact time by holding A. And what that does, it slows down the physics, and while you're crashing and activating impact time, you can actually sort of steer your car and control where it's going to cause the most damage possible, or to hit power-ups. And if you do enough damage, you get to see a news headline. It's really cool. Makes you feel like you're actually doing something with your life. As well as this, the damage costs and the different crash events all add up. And by reaching certain amounts of money, you get to unlock different vehicles to drive around in. I think the most recent one I've unlocked was the garbage truck. I got that about $90 million in damage. That was pretty cool. Now for the cars themselves, of course, you're completely fucking wrecking them. They're not going to crash like a Toyota Corolla or anything. No, these are all fictional cars, but just by looking at them, you can kind of tell they're all based on real cars. However, Burnout 3, it's still a racing game, and there is a lot of racing in it, because there's also different types of race events. You have your typical races and tournaments that you would see in most racing games, but there's also special events, and there's two different types of these. There's head-to-heads, which by beating your opponent you get to win their car, but there's also different special events, and by winning them you get a postcard. I haven't unlocked all the postcards yet, but the game does show off that you get to unlock this classic hot rod by completing all of them, so that's pretty cool. But I think the best event type is the road rage events, and in these events, one of the features in Burnout games is that you can run your opponents off the road, cause them to crash and do a lot of damage. You get to watch them crash, and it's really cool because they all have the damage enabled. But in these road rage events, your goal is to just take out as many opponents as possible. If you crash too many times and incur too much damage to your car, the event ends. As well as this, the event will also end if the timer runs out. It's usually 3 minutes, I think. As well as this, when you crash, you can enter impact time and just control your car very slightly. You can steer your wrecked car into the path of your opponents as they're crashing to take them out, to get after-touch takedowns. And another type of takedown in the game are signature takedowns, because each region, you have America, you have Europe, and you have Japan. Each of these regions has an interconnected map with its own distinct features, and by taking your opponents out in certain ways, like in Europe you can run them into the tram, you get what are called signature takedowns, and these also give you postcards for them, which is cool. However, one issue I have with the game is that these maps, while they're all interconnected, you can't actually drive around in them. And in Burnout Paradise, you could drive around in them and free roam, but I'm not talking about like that, because, hardware limitations. This is a 6th generation game after all, but I'm more thinking of something like Project Gotham Racing or Metropolis Street Racer or whatever. Because in those games, if you reached a certain completion threshold, you could actually drive around the various cities there, which was awesome. And I don't know, it just kind of feels like a missed opportunity to me that you can't just free roam around these areas as an extra mode. Because in Burnout Paradise, one of my favorite things in the game is not just the racing or crashing, it's just like the driving around. Because the whole map's free roam and you can just like switch your brain off and just drive around, and it's really fun. But other than that, I don't really have any issues with it, so overall I'd say Burnout 3, it's a pretty great game. I definitely say go check it out, buy it if you want to. I mean, no, I'm not a paid shill for EA or anything. No, guys, no, I'm sorry for selling out to EA, I'm sorry! But all jokes aside, thank you for watching so much. Last video, best performing one in the channel's history. So really just thank you guys so much. And I will see you in the next video. Peace.